I probably would not go back to HEMONC. I love fast-paced procedural, like put me in something outpatient. Like that's, I think, where I would thrive. But but you learn those things over time. And if you start feeling that things are off, that's when you speak to your manager, or most hospitals have an employee assistance program that it's because they know it's heavy work, that everyone in the hospital is dealing with heavy stuff all the time. You're seeing everyone on their worst day, right? So those programs are there for a reason, because it's in the hospital's best interest for you not to burn out either. So taking advantage of things like that is really important. And even just finding like silly, goofy things to disconnect. One of the things I started doing was cranking music in my car and singing like a maniac for 20 minutes. I can't even imagine what people on the highway thought, but that was my way of like, I am leaving. And, you find what works for you. But I think it's important to take the time to figure that out. And that's hard in the beginning, when I think a lot of us go through a phase where we're trying to be superheroes and be everything to everyone. And you have to say no. You have to protect yourself. We're so good about reminding parents, you're only as good to your kid as you are to yourself. Take the break. The same applies to us. Just as much, if not more so. You can't just give indefinitely. So yeah.
Traci, what about you? I know it's rare, not that I'm, I've been in the field for, this is my 11th year, but 21 years, what has kept you going?
Oh gosh. I mean, I think just my love for the job in general, yes. The relationships you make and the things you learn every day, what the kids teach you, the new things you can teach others. I don't know. I've always just loved what I do, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things, and maybe you guys can speak to this, is I always tell my students, when we're doing the child life course, we're learning about everything. And for me, I really gravitate towards trauma and hospice and palliative care. But that's not for everyone, and that's okay. I think everybody thinks they have to be so comfortable with every aspect of child life. So can you guys kind of speak to that? Like, I keep telling them, you fall in your niche.
I actually love talking about this. I always am like, we can, like, I just feel like you don't always, even if you're not like super comfortable in an area, like, I just feel like as child life specialists, we're like awesome because we have the skills to work with anybody anywhere. Like, and you might not always feel comfortable. Like sometimes, I go from the ER, maybe I help in the NICU or something. It's totally different environment, but like, it's just like you're using the same skills. And I think sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit in our field that we can, like, you can even translate what you're doing to like when you're babysitting, like there's so many great skills that we learn in this job. So, and I don't know, sorry, I went off. What was the question again? I just lost.
Oh, that's okay. I think that a lot of students just think they have to be super comfortable with, procedural support, bereavement support, emotional processing, new diagnosis, and we all find our niche in the field.
Yes. Yeah, I would say that was something I struggled with, was because I kind of had this idea that at the end of internship, I would know everything. And you kind of have to understand that you're never going to know everything, and you're going to learn something different every day. Like a couple weeks ago, I think I had to call Katie because I was going to help with a procedure that I'd never done before that she's done once. And I was like, okay, tell me what it is, like walk me through what I'm going to help this patient with. And then, it just ends up because I use the same skills I use for procedural support for any patient or any prep, but I'm just kind of doing it in a different area of the hospital. So you're always going to be learning something different. And I think that's what's really cool about our field is you don't have to know everything. So just like let that weight go, because you'll never be able to know every single thing. And if you're not the best at prep, you might be really great at procedural support, but it all evens out. And that's why you have lots of great coworkers too.
I also think, real quick, going off of that, one thing that helped me that I remember being told was that like families like don't like ever, I maybe once a week I meet like maybe a family or two who know what child life is. and they are like, they don't know what's happening in the hospital. So when I'm prepping or talking about things, they don't know whether or not like I'm necessarily saying the correct thing. And so even now there's like, I went to a procedure today that I had never been to. And I was kind of like asking moms, so you like learn different ways to like approach scenarios, going off like some people like bereavements more than other people. And how you find your niche, like you definitely do, but I think you also figure out what you need to like support yourself in it. And so whether you're in like a bigger program, like at Advocate, there's 13 of us, we can bounce ideas off each other or get support from people who are maybe more skilled in an area that you're still growing in, and they'll often like help you. A lot of them are able to like work with you. But if you're also, I've been in a situation in the NICU where I was kind of like alone, I still was able to like reach out to whether it was the ACLP on like the forum. Like there's also different ways to learn and feel more comfortable in the area, but it's definitely not uncommon to feel uncomfortable, and you kind of just like fake it till you make it, and you just really hope that it goes and you like learn from it. So
I think another piece is, is every now and again you'll get that textbook perfect intervention where like, you did the prep, you did the procedural support, the IV got in and no one's crying and it's wonderful and beautiful and everyone's happy. You get that sometimes, but that's not actually the goal. The goal is for it to be better than it would have been if you weren't involved. And that might still mean crying, that might still mean screaming, that might still mean everything that we're trying to, minimize, but is the kid bouncing back? Are they getting back to baseline and getting back to playing? Then great, we avoided a trauma that, medical trauma is an adverse childhood experience that can follow you for a lifetime, that can lead to healthcare avoidant behaviors for a lifetime. And so that's what we're trying to do, not have textbook perfect experiences every time, but let's get through this better than it would have been if child life weren't involved, and minimizing trauma so that this doesn't become the start of avoiding healthcare through adulthood, that children know how their bodies work, they understand how healthcare works, and can cope. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, that's great. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. For the panelists, if you guys have any internship or volunteer site suggestions, I know there's many students from the Chicago area. If you know of any ones that are online right now, that might be super helpful. Oh, Olivia had one quick question. I had a question for potential students who are returning to school after taking a few years off. I'm still in the process of transferring schools as well. What could I be doing now to continue to work towards the goal of becoming a CCLS? If any of the panelists want to take that one on real quick.
I think just, again, like we were saying, any work really that is involved with patients and families, just like in your area, whether it's, I know the volunteering piece is hard, but anything you can do with kids and families is like just going to help you. And if you're in kind of a transition period, I think that's just like the best that you can do. And it's all about how you talk about your experience. So you just make the most of it and it'll be great.
And I think, look at your panelists, these are all Alumni alum, and just having that education alone is awesome. And has taken them, as well as all of your other wonderful skills, but taken them really far. And so don't underestimate all the great education you're getting to at U of I as well. Do you guys mind, if anybody wants to share, any of the panelists, your contact information? If you guys have questions, you can reach out. I know Meagan did once before. Do you mind popping it in there again, Meagan, just so in case anybody didn't see it from before?
I'll put my camp email as well.
Yes, thank you.
So just so everyone knows, we do have like a summer or a spring weekend camp that's coming up at the end of April. It may be too early now, but our summer camp for the fall will be, or for the summer camp for summer will be in August, and it's all through Zoom. So you can do it wherever you are. You do have to be 21 or older to be a on-staff volunteer, but we do have a leader in training program for those who are not under 21, which would start again in the fall. But it's really fun. It's awesome. I love camp, and it's oncology specific. So we have patients with oncology and then their siblings as well. And hopefully we'll go back in person and we camp at a hotel, and it's so much fun.
Thank you. You guys are so knowledgeable. Even, I mean, I'm in your same field and I'm in awe too. Just, it's so great. And I will say one thing I love about the field of child life, and I always say this to my students, but I believe we are a very passionate, understanding, driven group of individuals, and we are here to help you too. And we want to see people do well in the field, especially students. So we're here to help you. Reach out to us, just like Meagan said, even reach out to the ACLP staff. If you find something on the website that doesn't make sense or you have a question, or to Barbara or myself if you're at U of I. Anything else anybody wants to add? Thank you guys so much for your time. We seriously very much appreciate it. It's been a very stressful year, and I think this has given a lot of people some calm, some ease in their life, because it's been tough. Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Guys, stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
A
so
quick
much.
question for Katie Weber. I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah.
So for the
Hello?
camp, hi.
Hi.
My name's Olivia. So for the camp that you were talking about, do we
Yeah.
just reach out through the email, or is there like a website?
I did put, there is a website, so that's where the application is. I think it's further
Okay.
up in the chat.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, I
called
had to
Camp
step away
Kids.
for a minute. I think my dog was throwing up, but she wasn't.
Oh no. Yeah, it's up at the top. It's just called campkidsorkids.org. Do you see it? I can resend it if you don't see it in the chat.
Let me see if I can find it.
Thanks, Yanhee.
That's something that I'm very much interested
Here, I
in.
resent it again. So
Okay.
yeah, if you look on the website, the applications are on there. I don't know if it's next week. It's like this weekend. So I think it's too late to volunteer for the spring one, but we always are looking for people like year round, and something we've also started offering too for some of ours. We used to have like a paid admin position, but we've kind of moved it because we've had a really great experience now twice for child life students, and they've actually been our like admin, and they've like worked it to become like a little like for credit for an Erickson student, and now it's credit for another student for like an internship credit, and do like a ton of work for the camp with like all the paperwork and all the stuff that helps keep camp running. So we do like it to be someone. This last time it's been someone who never came to camp, so that's just another opportunity that is newer, but if you're interested, yeah, it might, it could possibly be HDFS 450. That might work. The director his name is Rich, and he's super flexible. So he's made it work now with Erickson and another program. So it could be another good opportunity. And right now with it all online, it's awesome. So
Yeah, I'm based in Chicago, and I'm a daycare teacher. So anything that's I'm able to do online that could help, that's amazing.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and if you fill out the application, you can just mention that you had met me too, and so then Rich will we chat all the time. So it'll help me
It pays to
remember.
have connections.
Yes, that's another thing. Child life is like all connections. Sometimes I feel like it's a weird connection world with child life.
Thank you, Katie.
I had one more question.
Yeah, go ahead, Olivia.
I know I forgot who mentioned that they worked at Lurie's.
Oh, me. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I volunteered there for a while, and how did you like it? How did you?
Loved it.
Yeah, I love volunteering there. Obviously, with the pandemic, I had to stop volunteering. It kind of like really did break my heart.
Mm-hmm. We
but-
relocated for my husband's job, and for different family dynamic reasons of, having children in the city is really expensive. So that was one of the reasons, but it's wonderful. I think when you go, and I'm sure Katie can speak to this, to some of those really larger pediatric institutions, the experience you gain is just outstanding.
Yeah, I'm so glad I did my internship at Comer. I feel like it's a larger institute, not as big as Lurie, but I feel like I had such a wide variety of experiences. For me, my self-care, I needed to go to a smaller hospital that had less traumas and stuff like that. But I'm really like grateful for that experience, just because it kind of brought me the knowledge to where I am now. So.